Well, I've been steady playing Epic 7 to try to pick up close where I left off. I tried to do that whole uh, returning player deal or event or stuff everyone was talking about, where you leave the game for about 16 days. And then when you come back, you get the check-in event and all these other events that give you a whole bunch of stuff. And I actually tried, but I failed because there's a caveat. I just closed the game. I didn't explicitly log out. So because I simply closed without explicitly logging out, even though I stayed away from the game for about 16 days or very close to it, when I logged back in, it didn't trigger the returning player events. And so I had to start, when I started going back in trying to research, like, okay, what happened? That's when I started noticing that when I launched the game, it says log out or change server. And when I did that, I was like, oh, I never logged out. I just closed the game. And so it occurred to me that even though if you just close the game and don't launch it, the let's say the platform or the servers for Epic 7 still consider you to be logged in because you didn't explicitly tell the game you want to log out. So I didn't trigger the returning player events and get those rewards and all the stuff I just scrolled through. But on November 23rd of 2023, or was it November 22nd of 2023, they came out with this content update that went ahead and gave all the players access to the returning player check-in event. So, or at least check-in rewards. So every player was able to benefit from, which was like the big contention with the whole abuse of the returning a player check-in event or check-in was that players could keep logging out of the game for 16 days, then come back and keep getting these types of rewards which would come with all this equipment. So, you know, once they did this, it kind of made it a mute point to try to go back and, oh, I'm gonna try to trigger it again. It just became meh. So I just left it alone. And so that was pretty much that. I just been steady building heroes and stuff. I guess the first thing I want to do is talk about like the interface changes they've been talking about, and the places where I noticed it the most is the whole hero thing. And I don't like this way they redid the hero screen. And it's like before it used to show you like their equipment and you could see those stats pretty reliable. Like the stats I'm seeing here, as well as like their skills or something. I was able to see this here. And then when I would click on the other screen, it would show me like their friendship and all these it would show me like their friendship and like their skills and me trying to build their skills or something. And so the reason why I don't like it is because when I come here, I don't see the stats laid out that I could just see at a glance. I have to make an extra effort. It's minor, but still it's when your mind's focused on calculate, you just want to see what you want to see. So now I have to take this extra effort or make this extra step to actually see their stats. So this way I could just begin to determine, okay, what do I want to do? And then the other thing that's a nuisance is like their friendship. Before, when I would click on the other, so like the other tab to show me like their friendship along with everything else, I would still have the list of heroes on the right. So once I made it to the screen, I could just keep scrolling and just go through everyone's friendship pretty quickly. But now if I want to see someone else's friendship, I have to come back out, then go back in, and then I have to come back out and go back in. And when you're just trying to eyeball it to see, well, what are the levels of each person's friendship? Is it close to each other or not? It was just far simpler to complete that task by simply scrolling and seeing the friendship bar change for each hero. You could see the minor adjustment of friendship level from that quick scrolling instead of having the visual disruption of having to come back out, then go back to friendship after you scroll to the next hero. So I don't know. Also, too, I'm not sure if it was always like this, but this tapping sound when everything like this little on everything that I'm doing, and for me, that's personally annoying. See, this what happens right there. It's just like, what is this sound? It's just an annoying sound. So I don't really like the interface changes there. I mean, I guess one thing I like is, I'm not sure when they did it, but the fact that they gave a total volume button, that's pretty cool. Or master volume. So that's that. Um, I guess I'll just talk about my heroes. So these are my heroes that, I've probably seen this list already. So you can't see their stats. I don't know. Maybe they did that on purpose. I have no idea. It doesn't make sense. I recently acquired Destina and I built her ASAP because I could use her in PV and player versus player. I acquired Navy Captain Landy some time ago, but I was fortunate in that, so I built her ASAP. So I use her everywhere. Acquired Architect later, like at the beginning of the game. I acquired Inferno Quazu not too long ago, and I was kind of upset that all those regular Quazus I was getting and just transmitting, I felt like, man, if I had known I would get this guy, I should have saved all those guys. He would be triple S. I got Auxiliary Rod some time ago, and I finally got him to triple S recently. I've decided to go ahead and start building build Requiem War. And these are all the other heroes that I just have that I'm currently just farming friendship points or using to level with penguins to complete daily objectives. And then I have heroes in the waiting room. These are all the heroes that, like the heroes that are, let's say, completely leveled and awakened, and even in some cases triple S. Those are the heroes I actually used in some player versus environment content. There are other heroes that are maxed out in terms of like their stars and their level, but they haven't awakened them or built any of their skills. And those are just heroes that I'm thinking of using, but I haven't really decided to use yet. The ones that are actually 6-star leveled, those are the ones I'm like, okay, there's a higher probability I'm going to use them. The ones that are not, but they're just max like 5-star level, those are the ones that, okay, there's a chance I might use them. And they're just good to have. Let me just level them just in case, so I could know that they're there. So they won't fall in with these lower leveled heroes. And so that's basically the heroes that I have. I made my teams. This is I say repeat, but I could call this team a farm. But I try to name my teams beginning with different letters so the letters don't repeat. So since I'm using friend, F for friend, I don't want to use F for farm, so I'm just using repeat. So any content where it's so easy, I could just put one hero in it and repeat it. And for more challenging, if it's a little slightly challenging, I could put a healer and one hero that's like, able to deal with it. That's what that does. I got my Devastate team. I just named it that because in the efforts of trying to climb the automation tower, I think I hit auto and it assigned the highest combat rating heroes. And it turned out to be something like this. But for player versus environment content, in most cases, even though it's less combat rating, having Angelica in there is way better. Because Angelic Montmorency, she's good at cleansing because she's not good at keeping your whole team alive. That's where Angelica comes in. She's able to keep debuffs off your team and keep your whole team alive. So she's not too good at cleansing, but once she gets going, and if you can manage to get her going before you start accruing debuffs, she's great. And she could just heal the whole team in her ultimate, whereas Angelic Montmorency can't. So that's the benefit. I got my Blitzkrieg team, which is my team to kind of like burst through content, easy content, or moderately easy content, I would say. So there's a lot of situations where you have heroes that, like for instance, my Devastate team, they're not fast. They're not like the only person in this that's like 200, that's over 200 speed is her and Sid. So, but that's not enough. You need someone that could get like higher speed and to constantly push your team or to keep them even faster. So that's where my Blitzkrieg team comes in. Because you got Yuna who could put speed on everyone and increase their attack. Then you got Shuri who's so fast he's constantly pushing people. And then I guess in terms of speed, he's sitting at 250 speed right now. I just actually made some changes before this video to get him there. The last video I actually talked about it while I was making the changes, but I'm recording a new video because I made some, communication errors. So he's sitting at 250 speed. So with his random, Randon's memorandum, once that gets maxed out, he'll be at 300 speed. So he's good in PV content long term to constantly just help push your team along. So it's great for, your general gameplay. Then you got Sid, who's just all around. Everyone knows Sid could do. He's just all around a good player, with the way his skills work, being able to see, with all that stuff. See how annoying this interface is? But basically with his skills and how they work and how fast I made him, he's just good in general. And then I added her to this team because I was using Falconer Clury, but the problem with Falconer Clury is she helped heal the team. Well, she helped heal the team, but she attacked too often. So in certain cases, you would just want to give your DPS an opportunity to attack. So with Requiem Roar, because on Falconer Clury, when you go through her specialty chain, she gets like a 50% CR push whenever she uses her skill 1 or her basic skill. So that made her constantly cycle so quick that there were times where I wish I would just have my DPS or some other character go first so they could take advantage of a buff or a debuff or something, a debuff or a buff that they have. Like take advantage of a debuff on the enemy or advantage of a buff on them before triggering the enemy's next ability from being attacked. So because Falconer Clury would attack so often, I think Requiem War made the better option. And plus she also helps to push the people along, which is kind of like the goal of the Blitzkrieg team, to keep pushing my team. I want to keep pushing my team forward like a blitz. Then I have my Spec Ops team, which is, it's just a Play-Doh team slot. Like whatever I need to make to beat something, I use Spec Ops for. So I could literally just do this, and this is usually how I leave my Spec Ops team so that I can make it into whatever I want. Then I have my challenge team, which is what I use for more difficult content that I'm too slow on, or even if I'm fast enough, just being fast isn't good enough. You have to be able to survive. So, and if the content I'm facing, there's just so much stuff going on that I need to be able to deal with all of it. So my challenge team is this to help me deal with more complex content that I can't just speed through. So I have my intercept team where they're like a one and done team. It's like if they can't go first and if they can't survive whatever the opener is, then this team is done. I mean, like what I'm saying is very generally, let's say known or understood, but this team has low mitigation. So an opener that does enough damage, because like moderate damage can wipe them. But because they're so fast, if they get to go first, there's a high chance that if I'm using this team for that content, my intention is to disassemble the team. And I have to start taking out at least 1 to 2 players. And that's where Sid comes in. And that's where Unit comes in with, giving them the increased speed and attack, which is great for Sid. It makes him just attack more Plus, I have other, what is this? No, I'm sorry, unseen observer artifact on Yuna, and it's maxed out, so she, will push a little bit faster. Also, too, gives a orb, 10 orbs, not 10 orbs, but it gives like 10 souls, so he'll have an orb to open with. So in most cases, when I'm using this team, he will take, if everything goes the way I planned, Sid will take out someone, and then he will take out the other person. Now they only have 2 people. Then I have my friend team, which is I just put people on this team who I'm building leveling friendship level with. Then I have arena NPC, which I just use for arena when I'm playing the NPC in arena, just so I can put it on auto, and they usually just clear the teams quickly. Then I have my labyrinth team, which is what I use for running through like normal labyrinth, not the like as what is it? I'm not even sure what it's even called. What is it called? It's labyrinth, and then you have the Royal Capital Asthma Callus. I wouldn't use them for that. I would go to Spec Ops and make a team. And I wouldn't use them for the Asthma Callus of Cycle. I would have to go to Spec Ops and make a team for whoever boss I'm trying to beat. So those are my teams. Those are my heroes. Those are the heroes I had in, the waiting room. Do a quick recap. So that's basically what's going on there. I completed the Epic Pass. Most people have by now. And, I've just following along with the events. It's taking a long time to load sometimes. I haven't recruited a hero yet. I was basically just upset or displeased or unhappy at the fact that after uncovering 30 freaking heroes, no Lionheart Surmier or Briar Witch Cesaria. So lame. But the only, the only real interest in that was for PvP, but I'll talk about that. PvP, player versus player last. And so far, I've just been clearing out the point shop. Haywood wants to show webpage not available. How to participate. So I've just been focused on clearing this out. After uncovering everyone, I just started focus on clearing this out. Doing the events. This event is going to end after the update. So, I've just been doing this, going through, doing stuff. So I've been following along. I've been stacking up stamina. I've got to watch some ads so I could get more stamina. So I've just been saving up stamina so I could farm equipment. I'm trying to build Infernal Quazu. So Infernal Quazu needs some pieces. So get all the stamina and stuff there. Infernal Quazu, I want to get him a defense set to help him survive the opening of some heroes. So I want to do that. And the change I had made recently was getting Shuri to 250 speed, but in order to do that, I had to take a piece off of Requiem Roar, or swap a piece with the chest piece. So she's 2 speed slower, and she has 7 less effectiveness. Or no, she only has like 1 less effectiveness, actually. She only has 1. Is it 1 or 2? It's 1 or 2. But I was able to get Shuri to 250 speed without having to do anything, like without having to farm any additional equipment. So that was great. And, I think I just mentioned it. He's at 250 speed, and once that gets maxed out, he'll be at 300. So that makes him great to cut in front of people. If I haven't mentioned it already. Let me put this artifact back on her. So I need to get Infernal Quazu, a necklace and ring. So I'm saving up stam to farm when the hunt buff comes, so I could get those set pieces. And so that's basically what's going on in the game for me, really. I participate in my guild wars. There's another war today, so I need to do that. I've already done the world boss. So that's basically everything that's going on. The last thing I'll talk about, I guess the last thing I'll talk about is, or is it the last thing? Let me think. I've been farming gold, basically farming penguins and selling them. So I got my gold up to 134 million by doing this. I haven't been doing a lot of adventure stages, so my stigma currency has been low. So I haven't really been able to recover. Been saving all my leafs. I guess I did make a purchase. I bought the leaf packs this year. So I bought those too. Plus they gave us a whole bunch of leaves for some event. They gave us something like 50 leaves or something. So when I went and bought
Humans are truly foolish.
it was the burning passion pack. I bought both those packs. I also bought the new player welcome pack. Spent like $7. That's my support of the game for the year. $7. So I'm just saving up stuff just so I could do farming. And for the most part, that's it. I guess the other thing I'll talk about is that, I feel like I'm nearing a point where the heroes that I'm interested in building, at least for now, I'm reaching that point. I guess before I do that, I've been saving up, I watched a video and they were talking about how you can get bookmarks. And in that video, they say you should come to the secret shop and do a whole bunch of refreshing. So I decided to start trying that, and you do. I mean, there's a good chance that you'll get more bookmarks, as well as get some mystic medals. Or is that what they're called? Mystic medals? Yeah, there's a good chance you'll get more bookmarks, as well as some mystic medals, than you would if you were to go to the shop and just,
what do you think?
buy the bookmarks here. Because if you just buy the bookmarks here, you'll get bookmarks, but you tend to get less, as well as you don't get any chances to get mystic medals. I watched some YouTube video from another, content creator who mentioned that. And so I've took the time to try it myself, and this turned out to be true. You just have to make sure, I won't say make sure, but from my experience,
why don't you test
if you're going to go into it, you want to make sure you have like something like 600 Skystone when you go into this. You got to refresh it, because there's a period where there could be a drought. Like you make like something like 30, 40, 50 refreshes and not see anything. So you're going to need to have enough Skystone to make it back to the point to where you get something. So I've just been saving up currency, all those mystic metals and bookmarks. So this way, when something comes in here, like I'm only, what was it, 98 summon for the 4-star Moonlight Hero. But if I select this guy, I'm only 70 summons away from a 5-star Moonlight Hero.
Let me see.
So I'm currently in a position to where I could get a 5-star Moonlight Hero of my choosing, so long as I wait and not make any more summons, because I don't want to do a regular summoning, end up pulling a 5-star Moonlight Hero, and then the thing resets. And the only reason why I'm talking about this whole Mystic Metal session is because all the free stuff they were giving us with those
Let me tell you.
slates and whatnot, and from when they tried to come out with that, the awakening, the expansion of the awakened system, and they gave us more slates. I've been having to choose who I wanted to, triple S or work towards triple S'ing. And so with the bookmarks I was saving and I started trying to make efforts to triple S Assyria, as well as Sirmia, and as well as Navy Captain Landy, by using, they gave us a custom summon and custom group summon, and I chose the regular Landy. And I don't know what's her hero journal. Is it just Landy? Yeah, I chose Landy in that custom summon. They allowed her to be in there, and so I used her to help get Navy Captain Triple S. But this was right at the time when they made changes to the system. And so when I came into level to Triple S Assyria, it showed me the slate first. Let me see here. Details. Come here. Hero. It showed me the unknown slates first. And I was like, well, it's a new system. Maybe they converted the extra characters to unknown slates. So I ended up using my unknown slates on Assyria when I had like 2 or 3 dupes of her. So I couldn't get Navy Captain Landy to Triple S as soon as I wanted to. So I had to start trying to recover. And then earlier on in the game, I used an unknown slate on Yuna just so I could get her memory imprint. But then later on, I decided to do the whole side story for her. So that was a waste of an unknown slate as well, because when I decided to do her book of memories, I didn't realize this thing would give you I thought I would be able to stop playing at a certain point and not get all the things that would level up. But when you complete this story, it gives you everything to level Yuna to Triple S. So that was a wasted unknown slate. So 2 times I wasted unknown slate. So I was forced to be in a position to where I wanted to try to either use my Mystic Metals on a Navy Captain Landy rotation, or try to use unknown slate. I decided to use unknown slate because at the time I was thinking, well, if a new hero comes out and I want to summon it, I'm in a position to get that hero. So if I just try to find another way to get Sirmia to Triple S, because of the unique position I just described, I can get a new 5-star Moonlight Hero. It's within my grasp. So now I'm stuck trying to figure out the alternate way to get Sirmia to Triple S. So that's what all that was about. And so coming towards finishing up with the heroes I want to build, I'm moving on trying to, I have my eye on Melissa. And I guess her Bloody Rose artifact, because I just like the way that she plays. I don't know. I say it's like the way that she plays. I just like her. I like her animations. It's like, I like the way her coffin is always on that purple flame.
I'm
her
not fooling
ultimate,
around.
it looks okay.
Let's
You
finish
know,
this.
it's kind of like, you know, it's
Let
not like
nothing get
combat
out of my
aggressive. It's
way.
more of a timid, timid attack. It's not like when I do it, I'm gonna feel like, oh yeah, that was so. Oh, look what I just did. I just annihilated the character. No, it's just like, all right, yeah, I bit you. But when you do,
I will
what
not
really
fall
looks
victim to
cool,
despair. I will have my revenge.
that looks cool. And then
Do
when
you
you
know
do her a
anything about
second
Jaha?
attack or a skill two, I just like the way that
I have
animates.
nothing to
That
say
looks
to you. What
dope
a
to
waste
me.
of time.
Like the way her stance and how she throws
I
it
have
out and
things to
everything, it
do.
just looks dope.
Do you
And
know
her
anything
coffin is
about that
always on
brat?
flame, or purple flame. It just looks dope. So even, and I actually did acquire. I actually acquired her 2 times, actually, maybe 2 or 3 times. And so she's a mage. See, you can see she's right there. I acquired her, but I was still, well, I had came to a decision not to try to hold her because I'm like, well, how will I use her to play with? Like all the other heroes I have, like Sirmia, she does a better job, and she has to have so much effectiveness, in order to land her curse. And it's like, I don't know. So when I think about that and how, like, player, I would have to use her skill 2 times in order to, I have to use 2 of her skills in order to do the job of what I could get with 1 when using Sirmia, who's a fire hero. The only difference is that she's a mage. So these were the decisions or thoughts I had to make. I guess it ignores effect resistance. So you would have to put her on the, uh, was it magma? Is it magma's tome? What's that artifact? What's that artifact's name? It's Tug of Hell's ancient book. So you have to put her on that just so she can land it. I don't know. I don't know. So, but things have changed, time has passed, and if I'm just going to get a character, now that I'm nearing finishing building the heroes I'm really interested in, if I'm just going to get a character for fun, it's going to be Melissa. It is going to be Melissa. I won't be able to get her right now, but I can do a story summon for Melissa. So those are the things with the heroes and what my plans are and all that jazz.
Here's one on the house. May the holy light save us all.
This is how I just
I
farm.
don't really enjoy this.
Just farm friendship. I think people already started beating my defense teams. I'll be talking about PvP here shortly. Player versus player. No, I've already talked about my heroes. I was fortunate to acquire Destina from a pull and fortunate to acquire Navy Captain Landy from a pull. I got Architect Leica from a pull early on in the game. I wasn't even summoning for her. When I say a pull, all these heroes came from like Covenant book summons. So I got Navy Captain Landy from a Covenant book summon. I got Architect Leica from a Covenant book summon. I got Inferno Kwanzu, I think, from a Covenant book summon. I even got Auxiliary Lots from a Covenant book summon. Even Requiem War from a Covenant book summon. So that's basically everything that's going on. And I guess with the heroes all the heroes that I've shown you and everything, I've been able to progress through the game pretty far. I've been able to, I'm able to do all the Labrim, Spirit Altars, hunts. You know, I've completed all the hunts at their highest difficulty, stage 13, stage 13, stage 13, stage 13. I don't put them on auto for 13. I think it's a waste of stamina to do 13, so I just put auto on 12. So I'm able to do Abyss. I made it to floor 102. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to the remaining floors because it's like, it just gets, from what I've read and what I've experienced, it just gets really cheesy. And you need to have certain heroes to deal with the content. And they have to be of a certain speed and all this other jazz. They have to have these certain artifacts to help make the content like cheesable or beatable in a easy, in a like a in a comfortable way. Put it that way. And that's a play off the whole Elvira thing. I'm talking about players are facing Elvira with discomfort. We don't want that. So in order to beat it in a comfortable way, you have to have all these specific heroes at certain speeds and so much effectiveness and effect resist and certain artifacts. It's just like, it's ridiculous. It's too much stress for whatever the resources are. I'll just have to tough it out. But I was able to go through and clear all of the challenge floors. Some heroes I just had to acquire, some 3-star heroes I just had to acquire and summon and just transmit them afterwards. But I'm able to clear that. So with the heroes that I'm able to acquire, with some exceptions, I'm able to go through all the content, clear stage level 5 of the Automation Tower. I'm able to do all the expeditions. I don't do any level 3 expeditions because I think, again, that's a waste of stamina. So I just do level 2. I can't really put it on auto. I have to play them in order to guarantee that I would get do enough damage or clear the expedition on level 2. Again, in order to put things on auto like that, you got to have certain heroes with certain speeds and certain artifacts. It just gets ridiculous. I can't do rifts because you have to have certain heroes of an element in order to clear. You can't just bring in anyone. So because I don't have the requisite heroes of a certain element to do this, I just avoid it. I'm able to clear Hall of Trials. So I have a good amount of exchange currency. So I'm able to do this pretty comfortably. I may not be number 1, but I still get a high enough score. I could try to get a higher score, but it just takes oodles of time to get the RNG right with your attacks and their attacks and the way the fight plays out. So I'm able to go through pretty much all the content. I'm saving PvP for last. I do the Guild War. I got to do a Guild War. I have enough heroes to get a decent score in World Boss and try to participate. So I think I mentioned how I'm farming gold. I just basically, if I didn't mention it, I mentioned it in my other video that I chose not to upload. Basically, I just come in here and just raise a whole bunch of penguins and sell them. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this already. Not enough stigma to farm a whole bunch of gold. I got to do a whole bunch of adventure stages, but I've been doing lots of hunts. Lots of hunts. I'm about to do some more. Farming up stam. So I've just been doing all the events to make sure I get all the stamina. Been buying out everything. I gotta watch some ads. So that's next on the list. So watching some ads so I could get some stamina. I might have mentioned all this already, so I'm just going through pretty quick. Buying all the stamina and stuff. So now we come to PvP.
Welcome.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned I hate that tapping sound. Sounds like a all part of those interface changes. So now we come to PvP. Part of PvP, I had a chance to face Elvira, and I encountered the cheese.
Don't worry.
I tried to go in there and without a dispeller and say, I'm gonna try to beat it. Like, you know, who knows? Maybe the person doesn't have the prophetic candlestick. Maybe they're not doing the cheese, but they were. So I lost. Or I lost, but I lost because I just yielded. It's like, forget this, I'm out. And so I had, you know, like the other people showing the videos, I beat everyone else except her. And once you get her by herself and you're constantly attacking her, that prophetic candlestick starts popping off, and you just done deal. So I yielded and then came back in with a dispeller. But it turned out I didn't even need a dispeller, because when I came back to fight the team a second time, I just attacked everyone else except her. And then with Navy Captain Landy, her extra attack just whittled Elvira down. And so because I wasn't directly attacking her, it reduced the chances for her prophetic candlestick to proc. And I don't think I ever saw it proc. So she just ended up getting whittled down before she could do her ultimate again and get that immortality buff. So I never once dispelled her immortality buff when I faced it a second time. I just attacked everyone else except her and let the extra attacks from everyone else, you know, attack, you know, just whittle Elvira down. So that's how that went. Now, in terms of arena, I managed to make it to Challenger 2 in arena. And, you know, this was an experience. It was an experience. I have to say that, you know, I spent like about 500 plus Skystone buying flags, entry tickets, or, you know, flags so I could keep doing it. And it took me like, who knows, maybe like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. I'm just sitting here doing arena. But, you know, I learned a lot. I learned just how the amount of diversity and nuance to that diversity exists in the arena landscape. And, you know, it was very eye-opening. I thought it was a very educational experience. And what led to me wanting to climb arena was, you know, basically all the stuff I've been talking about already. I have all these heroes. I'm able to go through all the other content pretty good. And so I got to a point where I felt like, okay, my heroes are pretty much built where I want them to be. And so then in arena, I started looking at the battle log. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start revenging people. And when I started revenging people or revenging teams, I was like, wow, I'm actually like winning more often than not. And so today, when I came back to it today, I was like, you know, I'm going to try to climb arena. I got some time, got some free time. I'm going to try to climb arena. This is something I'm interested to see how far can I go with my heroes. And so I made it to Challenger 2. And once I made it to this point, I just decided to stop, because like I said, there's so much diversity and nuance in that diversity of this arena landscape that what I realized is you just simply need to have like every hero. It's like you need to have access to practically every hero that's in the game. And they all have to be like built enough. Like they have to be they have to be leveled to 6-star or high enough for whatever their purpose is. And they have to be, you know, have whatever the memory imprint is that make them work or make them do whatever that they do. The skills have to be leveled enough so whatever they can provide to the nth degree. And they all have to, then you have to have just a wide array of built equipment that you could just change in and out to meet whatever the need is if you're going to climb arena. And And then when you think about it, and that's just the heroes and equipment, then you got artifacts that could just change again, just keep adding to that nuance. And it's just like, you have to have like access to all these things. They all have to be built to whatever level would make them effective for however you're trying to use it. And it's like, it's just too much. There's no real way for you to keep up with that. I mean, not unless you're spending a whole bunch of money, but as a free to play player, I'm not necessarily free to play, but I don't spend to try to be number one. I mean, I certainly don't spend to be number one. I certainly don't spend to acquire every hero. And I certainly don't spend just because a new hero comes out. And I certainly don't spend just to beat, niche content. The only times I spend money is when I'm trying to support the game. That's the only time I spend. I don't spend like, oh man, I want this hero, I'm going to go spend some money. No, I don't do that. I did that in other games, but I'm not choosing not to do that here. And so because of that, even if you were to dump a whole bunch of time in this game, it's impossible to acquire the heroes in a timely fashion in order to climb an arena ladder, because the rate at which they keep releasing new heroes, it will far outpace whatever heroes you can acquire by being free to play. And that matters because every time they release a new wave of heroes, they change the meta. So then whatever you're trying to acquire may work thus so far, but until you reach where the meta has been changed and players have, who spent the money to get those heroes have done that. And it's like, so it's like a never ending rabbit hole if you try to keep up. And that's just how all these games are. It's all about monetization, how much money they can get. And so because of my efforts to climb arena, it brought me to the place where I realized where my ceiling was. And my ceiling in arena, and even as far as challenging content in this game, ends at, I've arrived at the ceiling at Challenger 2 for player versus player in arena, and for Rift content and any other content where they have a so-called extreme gameplay mode where you need to have required heroes to beat it. So that includes Rift, that includes Expedition level 3 of anything.
There are already several other expedition teams hard at work.
Expedition level 3 of anything. And it includes those story modes when they come up with new content and they want to leave story stages, and they have like when you go into a side story and they'll have what is it? When you go to do the level, it'll say easy, normal, hard, hell, and then there'll be some level after hell. So any level after hell or even hell levels, that's like, okay, that's not for me. Some of these story stage contests they release as part of an event, not for me. Also, too, it includes Abyss. Basically, anything above 102 and above, I'm just like not doing it. Like, I have the heroes for this for 102, and I may be potentially have the gear, but I'm just not going to deal with the stress. Because I know I don't have whatever the recommended artifacts are. I have some of them, but not all of them. So that's basically what I learned from trying to climb arena today, was what my ceiling was. Like Clint Eastwood, a man's got to know his limits. So I found out what my limits were. And because of those limits, it made me realize that I just can't commit to a long-term playing of Epic 7 or any of these video games of today unless it's like a single story campaign intended to be beat within, with everything they provide you in the game, like as it is, like there is no shop in the game. Like there's no microtransactions or other financial transactions that occur routinely in the game that you have to purchase in order to help make your gameplay experience more comfortable. Everything that you need to beat the game is provided to you in the game that you purchased at the time of sale. And you just simply need to play and spend time acquiring those items or building those items or playing through the story until you receive those items, then you beat it. But anything else where it's like these gacha games where they're constantly changing the meta, they're constantly changing the goal line as to what is to help you understand or know when you beat the game. Like, oh wow, I beat that content. Oh, you beat that content, great. Time to change the goal line. Oh wow, you beat that, you made it to that area in PvP arena. Well, if you want to stay there or if you want to progress, we changed the meta, so now you got to get some new heroes, because if you don't, you're just going to start dropping. I can't. It's just a never-ending rabbit hole, and I can't do that. I know where my ceiling is. So I just focus on getting the heroes I actually enjoy playing. So even though I've come to this realization, playing video games is something I wanted to do. It's something I want to do in life, actually. So I went on a little rant in my other video, but basically, if you have a thirst for imagination, you seek to satisfy that thirst or that hunger for imagination. And so, some people find that satisfaction in books. I like multimedia content. I like movies. I like movies. I like video games. I like television shows, music, good music. And so one of the reasons why I gravitated towards video games is because it's, as video games progress, it's like a more complete, it's like a more complete fulfillment of that thirst or hunger, because not only is my imagination being, you could say, fed or sustained or nourished visually, it's being nourished or fed or sustained audibly, story-wise, as well as interactively. I play a part in how things play out. And so, and what made me gravitate towards these multimedia, mediums to satisfy my imagination was, the creative rich team of people that are behind it. So whenever there's a creatively rich team of people behind something and they create something truly wonderful, like, the original Indiana Jones movies, like the original first three, or the original trilogy of Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings, or any other movie like the first 300 film, or anything, where it's just like, man, like whatever my imagination was, wherever it was going for this movie, the creatively rich team behind that movie brought that, they satisfied, they fulfilled my imagination. The thirst and hunger that I imagined it had for whatever I was expecting to see, they totally fulfilled it. And then once you get that, it's like, wow, that's what I'm in it for. But a lot of the games today, especially on mobile, it's all about monetization. Like how much money can we exploit out of the player? Like how can we psychologically manipulate them into spending money? And because the main tool that they use to do that is by creating content and circumstances that will force you to spend excessive amounts of time in their game. So they want you to get fed up or get frustrated or get, exasperated, exhausted at how much time you're spending in the game to where you just say, fine, forget it. I'll just go ahead and spend some money so I can get the heroes or get the resources to farm so I can just get to where I want to be. And that's not something I want to commit to long term. And I came to this realization in Epic 7 today when I climbed Arena. So that's my Arena experience for today. The last thing I mentioned about Arena or PvP is the team I had to face. It's Battle Log. Are they here? Oh my gosh, they couldn't have been, oh no. There were 4. They were at the bottom. Shoot. The history got faded out through me doing stuff. But I took a screenshot of it. Let's see if I can't get to the screenshot. This is the screenshot I took. Playing today. Oh, a lot of people, a lot of stuff. Darn it. But this was the team that gave me the most difficulty. This QF16 guy. This team composition of Crow, Last Rider Crow, Lionheart Sirmia, Navy Captain Landy, and Zio. It was like, to me, from what I've experienced, it's like the perfect team comp. Like there were other team comps that had a lot of synergy in terms of what they would make the next hero on their team do, or what they would trigger from the next hero on their team. And you could tell that team was basically built to initiate that kind of sequence synergy. Like someone would pop a speed skill, then the next person someone would pop a skill that would push people. Then the next person will pop a skill that would give people a certain buff and also to push people. And in those teams, they started in the back, but by the time all these people did all these things, all of them were in the front, which opened the door for them to do this next thing, which another person would ride off of. It's very similar to the whole, Seaside of Syria and Rand thing, where when he opens with his cleave attack, she goes and places a bomb and pushes the team up. And in most cases, she would get pushed up enough to where she was able to cast her ultimate, and then she would detonate all the bombs, and then your whole team was wiped. It's that kind of synergy. But this team, it's like all these heroes, like Last Rider Crow, Lionheart Sirmia, and Navy Captain Landy, they're all designed to deal with certain types of gameplay. Or I say certain types of gameplay, but the best way to say it, they all have a response or some type of automated trigger response to different ways a team would attack. You have Last Rider Crow, where if you are constantly do things that attack him, especially if it's an AoE attack, it decreases his ultimate cooldown by 2 turns when you hit him with an AoE attack. And whenever you hit him with a single attack, it decreases the cooldown by 1 turn. So for people who are constantly attacking, you're constantly reducing the cooldown on Last Rider Crow, when he's just going to when he takes his next turn, he's just going to spam his ultimate again. And then you have Lionheart Sirmia, where if you have people who do like all these extra attacks or dual attacks or whatever it is, or all that kind of stuff, she just basically, it's like when she casts her ultimate, she like uses all of her fighting spirit, you use like 80 fighting spirit. So even if you deplete all of her fighting spirit, she takes an extra turn, which gives her some more fighting spirit, which also too reduces the cooldown on her passive. And then if you do another extra attack, she's like popping it again. And by the time she comes back down, she's ready to do her ultimate again. And it's like, this is ridiculous. And so so every time if you try to fight with heroes who are doing extra attacks or dual attacks or, taking extra turns or I forget how it works. I know it's dual attacks, extra attacks, and counter attacks. So if you're fighting with a team that likes to attack that way, she's just going to constantly be pressuring your team with AoE damage that goes through 50% defense. And then you have Navy Captain Landy, where again, no matter what you're doing, like if you're attacking her, if she's getting hit with the attack, there's always that chance where she's going to pop off and do a counterattack and then, AoE. So with all that other pressure from the other two heroes, now you have this happening and you don't know when Navy Captain Landy is going to pop off. So if she pops off enough and in a way that you're like, not prepared, she's going to, after you take all those hits from Last Rider Crown, Lionheart Sirmia, then here she comes with her ultimate, negating, going through 60% of your defense. And so dealing with that I spent hours trying to beat this team. And I spent I don't know how much Skystone, probably maybe like about 200 Skystone trying to beat that team. So I finally did manage to beat it, as you can see. And I did it by using Inferno Quazu and some other team composition. I'm pretty sure I used Armin with Aureus, and I'm pretty sure I used Destina, and I want to say that I used Navy Captain Landy, or I used Sid. But I know I had to use Armin to survive Last Rider Crow. And I know I had to heal up. And I used Inferno Quazu to attack Navy Captain Landy to bring her health low enough to reduce her threat. And I think I used Sid to one-shot Lionheart Sirmia. And then I just intelligently attacked between Zeo and Last Rider Crow until I could get Last Rider Crow in the picture. And I had to do something like that in order to beat that team. But it took a lot. It took a lot. So it was a learning experience. I'm happy that I had that experience because it kind of let me know, just like I said, a man's got to know his limits. It kind of let me know how far I can go in this game and like what I would need to do in order to progress further. And so I was able to realize everything I realized earlier, like, well, is this something I'm willing to commit to? Like what it would take for me to, let's say, get to from what I've heard from other people say, what is it, arena info, league info. If I wanted to try to camp in Champion 5, it kind of let me know what it would take for me to be able to do that. And I can honestly say that's not something I'm willing to do. I mean, in order for me to get there, the meta would have changed so many times, so many different heroes, that by the time I even try to make an effort to acquire the heroes to deal with what I'm facing now, there'll be something new out that I would need different heroes to deal with. So I think, as I was, all the stuff I've been saying, Challenger 2, or just camping in, Challenger 5, that's what's easy. I can reliably stay in Challenger 5. The people are coming up, I can reliably defend my position and make sure I stay there. So it looks like that's about as far as I'm able to go. And it's the same thing with all the other so-called quote-unquote challenging content. 102 is about as far as I'm willing to go. I might be able to beat that one day if I'm willing to sit down for hours trying with the heroes that I have. But I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to do a rift unless they come out of a rift where I have the required heroes. So unless they come out with a rift where I already have those required heroes already built, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, but that's everything this time. So that's basically where I'm at in the game, and you know what's going on, what I'm up to. I'm gonna, you know, keep playing, and eventually I will come to a point where I put less time into it, and I guess start focusing on other things. And there might be a time where I just totally move away, have to face the realization, like, well, what else is there to do in life? I want to play games, but the scene has changed. The games are all monetized and designed to exploit you and psychologically manipulate you into spending a whole bunch of money, or to sacrificing all the time in your life to it. So at some point you just got to move on. What will that be? I don't know. I guess I'll go back to learning Japanese so I can watch my anime without having to look down and read. So I can just watch and enjoy like I do with English language. But that's basically it. I'm going to have to sit down and do these guild wars. I'm going to do that here. But that's basically it for the video. If you made it to the end and you watched all of it, thank you for doing so. A level 18 guild. And they have all their bases populated. I see we have 240 points. Let me see where they've already attacked. And maybe these are the weak ones. It seems that way, so that's what I'm going to do. I guess I'll leave this in here. You can stop watching if you want. Let's see here. Where's mine? There she is. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. This should work.
I hope this job is a little easier. Fly, Flurry! Get him!
I won't lose to anyone. Take this.
All is by your will. Obey. Preparations are complete. For his lofty goal.
The goddess wills it. Let the goddess lead the way.
The Hellsite will slice you in two.
Purifying flame. Burn away the evil.
I'll protect you.
Bon voyage. Allow me to demonstrate.
Shall we play? With strength of will.
Oh, it can't be helped. Don't give up. Too bad. Do not falter. Deal with it.
I hope you're ready.
All right, let's go.
I want to retire already.
Come at me. I'll block everything. For the long tails.
That's one. See who else they attacked. Didn't attack anyone there. Someone attacked this. Let's see here. I won't be able to do my usual cheese because this guy can dispel. So let's see if this will work. I should have a plan B, I guess. Let's see here. It's a gamble. If I'm not fast enough, I'll lose. All right, let's try that.
Oh, it can't be helped. The dawn is quietly blazing.
Kneel.
Now, here I go. Spear of Ragnar. Bleed. I'll protect you. Initiating defense.
The goddess wills it.
You lack discipline. Beg. Too bad.
Away with you.
Bon voyage.
Oh, it can't be helped.
These meatheads. Deal with it.
Come at me. I'll block everything.
I want to retire already.
A roaming heart, forever wandering.
Too bad. You lack discipline. Blockade complete. Don't let them escape.
No surprises. That's what it's all about. Am I fast enough?
I'll show you my ability.
I am.
I'm strong.
I am at your command. Remove all obstacles. All is by your will. This is your end.
Did you see that? Aren't I amazing?
I think I went there already. Cannot battle. Cannot battle. I thought I saw a building attacked in here. I do not see one, which means they've avoided this area. I might be able to get by with this. Let's try it.
Oh, it can't be name of the goddess. A prayer.
Fall. And never get back on your feet. Enough. I'll blow you away.
This is my victory.
All right, let's go.
Back. Deal with it. Allow me to demonstrate.
Shall we play?
The goddess wills it.
Bon voyage. Do not falter. Back.
I want to retire
I'll cover you.
already. Is
Come
anybody
at me.
there?
I'll block everything.
Allow me to demonstrate. It's time. Commence tactical maneuvers.
Should I fight like Lots? Now's my time to shine.
Preparations are complete. Vanish into darkness. I am at your command. Please disappear.
And my opponent? Excuse me. Cut and slice. Do you want me to do anything else?
I think I just recently realized that there are 3 guild wars per week, not just 2. Whether we win, who knows? The guild win is a casual guild, so. And then due to the whole thing of the returning player check-in exploit fiasco, a lot of people were leaving and whatnot. So to try to, exploit that, it just made things not very non-participant. And for a casual guild is, but I stay in the guild because it's casual. I don't, not required like, you need this hero, you need to have this, you need to have that. Just log in and play how I want to play. Participate how I want to participate. I try to help out, but it's not a lot of peer pressure to do so. And I just do what's easy. If I can't beat him. I can't beat him. Trying to spend too much time on it. But that's basically it. All right. Time to end the video and check it out. Later.